Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen winding down her visit to China after a busy weekend with leaders there. And Sara Eisen is on the ground this morning from Beijing. She sat down with the secretary just a short time ago for a big exclusive interview. And we want to hear all about what happened, Sara.
It's good to see you, Andrew. And yes, from Beijing, where Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is wrapping up 4 full days in China. She spent the first part of the trip in Guangzhou, down in the south, in the advanced manufacturing hub, and then the weekend and Monday here in Beijing, where she met with government officials. The highest ranking official she met with was Premier Li, the #2 leader in China. She met with local officials, including the mayor of Beijing, met with students at Peking University, economics students, and she received a very warm welcome and a lot of respect, I have to tell you, because of her economics background, despite issuing 2 pretty tough messages to these Chinese leaders. Number 1 was on this overcapacity concern that the U.S. increasingly has, that China is flooding the world with cheap exports of EVs and solar panels that they're subsidizing. She was harsh on that one, and also on a matter of national security, where she warned China and other countries that there will be consequences if they fuel Russia's war machine. So I asked her if we are looking at sanctions for China coming. Here's what she said.
It's not only Chinese companies. We would feel that particularly any financial institution that facilitated trade in dual-use goods or strictly military goods in violation of our sanctions and aiding Russia's military, we would consider sanctioning. The president issued a recent executive order that would enable Treasury to impose sanctions on financial institutions that are found to be doing this in a systematic way. And we've not used this tool yet, but it is one that would be available. And what I've tried to make clear is that we stand ready to act if we see significant violations especially by financial institutions.
In China?
And other countries as well.
What about the Chinese government and its support of Russia?
Well, China is entitled to have a relationship with Russia. What we have made clear is that it is unacceptable to us for China to support Russia militarily. And that doesn't say that China can't have a relationship with Russia. China and Russia do a lot of trade. Much of it is unproblematic, but anything that involves aiding Russia's military in their brutal war against Ukraine is unacceptable to us, and we have the ability to sanction it.
Should American companies be reducing their exposure to China on a manufacturing basis?
Look, I think trade and investment between China and the United States is valuable. Many American companies are doing excellent business in China, have been here for a long time. The same is true of Chinese companies in the United States. And this trade is beneficial. And the great majority of it is uncontroversial. And I think we should not do anything to impede that trading and investment relationship. But in areas where we have national security concerns, as we have clearly demonstrated, we stand ready to act to protect our national security. That may mean export controls or other interventions. And we try to target those narrowly so that they don't have broad-based impact on China's economy as a whole. And we feel strongly and have agreed with the Chinese that we need a level playing field. Now, when we interfere, when we have regulations that affect our trade and investment with China, if it's national security or other reasons, we go through an open and transparent rule writing process. We put out proposed regulations. we accept comments. The Chinese have the opportunity to comment. We take the input and we write regulations. It's very clear what we're doing. In China's case, often the support, we believe there's maybe often a lot of support in ways that are not transparent. And that really is a meaningful difference. But we're not trying to stifle trade and investment, broadly speaking. So I would not want to advise American firms don't do business in China.
But if I'm Tim Cook of Apple and looking at the geopolitical relationship and the national security concerns, ultimately, won't that trump the economic relationship?
Well, the purpose of the dialogue that I've been involved with now for well over a year with our Chinese counterparts is intended to make sure that that does not happen, that we don't have an unintended escalation of tensions, that we understand one another's red lines, we avoid misunderstandings, and we preserve economic interactions that are beneficial to both sides. We manage our relationship. We need to manage it responsibly so that both sides can continue to benefit.
You put a lot of work into this, and you said in your news conference this afternoon that the relationship is in a better place than it was a year ago.
Definitely.
Do you worry about the relationship in 1 year from now if President Trump gets reelected?
Look, I don't want to get into politics. I'm governed by the Hatch Act.
So she clearly wouldn't go there on Trump, but it is something to think about as the former president has threatened as much as 60% tariffs against China. She didn't even really go there in terms of threatening tariffs. Even on the overcapacity issue, Secretary Yellen said tariffs are on the table if China doesn't respond to it, but wasn't dangling that at all. And as you heard clearly in her answer, is not trying to decouple or even discourage U.S. investment in China, just trying to force these issues. And I have to say, you know, she's front page news today and every single day this weekend. It's a huge deal over here. The coverage has been mostly friendly about the interactions, clearing, key economic issues being discussed as Yellen visit continues. She's generally well liked. And part of it, I think, Andrew, is that she made a lot of time for some important cultural visits while she was here. She had a private tour last night of the Forbidden City, a very popular tourist destination here right near Tiananmen Square. She, right now, actually just a few moments ago, wrapped up a visit to a local brewery that actually imports American hops as an example of U.S. exports to China. And she's all over social media. Her nickname here is Yellun Nainai, which means Grandma Yellen. That's the extent of my Mandarin. But a sort of term of endearment in what is an increasingly tense U.S.-China relationship. She's really tried to keep the economics here separate than, I think, the more confrontational national security concerns.